Hello everyone, Manithral here, and welcome to a little bit of a review video on something. But before I get into the recent MTX explanation and what's planning and what's going to be getting done, I want to go over the Ghost Weave returns. Very ironic the money the MTX with RuneScape is going to be tied into a MTX type event. But anyway, this video, I will say now, as you probably already have noticed, there is no monetization on this video. The reason being is because I know this is a very hot topic for the community of RuneScape, and I want to just get the information out there without any ads. This way it's just there. Okay, so for starters, I will get into this week's event. It's the Ghost Weave returns, and this is not a bad one. This is not one you have to be, up in arms about. It's just that, okay, so at 0 game time on the 25th of October, to 23:59 game time on the 30th of October, you can win mystical prizes of the Ghost Weave, and you can use those pieces to make one or more of the following outfits. So odds are this kind of event will be returning accordingly, for the Halloween type events, the Halloween type months. But you can get the returning outfits are going to be the Lederhosen, the Clown, Jester, Druid, Fremenic, and Farmer. New ones consist of the Revenant, the Spirit Hunter, Reaver, Builder, Ringmaster, Chicken, Fisher, Guard, and Princess. I think the Fisher is actually one that was out before too. I think they might have actually accidentally put that in the wrong column. And it says if you fancy anything else, you can turn your Ghost Weave into XP, crafting XP, or into 7 types of special chocolate. The only thing that I'll say this right now, Jaggeds. The only thing that could make this better is if it wasn't just tied solely into the treasure hunter aspect. That's what people want to leave, stop having it done. They don't mind these kind of events, but don't have it so that the only way to get it is through treasure hunter. That's what people don't like. But now on to the biggest news of all for this. I wanted to do a video on this because people have seen that I bought keys before. I've used them. I've bought Solomon outfits. I have no problem with the microtransaction system. However, I do have opinions on it. I've seen both the community's feedback, and I've looked into, and I understand, the feedback. Personally, for me, it's like if I see something, I'll try to get it. But I do understand the fact that it's not overly good for the community, but at the same time, it is good for the community. And now here's the reason why I want people to understand and see that they can trust Jaggeds this time around with it. Number one, things got way carried away. They admit it. They apologize for it. They're going to try to work on it and make it better. So I know some people were like, well, they said this before. It didn't happen. Well, here's the thing. From a company's point of view, okay, your player base was already, or your client, whatever, was already irritated about these kind of events when they first came out. But, you try to smooth it over, try to see, get people to get on board with it. There's still some people that were kind of ticked off. But some people started getting more and more accustomed to it as it's been out longer and longer. But then different things started happening that made the microtransactions bigger than they should have been. And this fired it up even bigger yet again. Now, of course, the fire never really dwindled down. It was still going pretty good, but, there's every now and then there's these things that made it burst and get even bigger of a situation than it was in the prior times, in those little brief now moment times. But each time, they apologized for it, they know it got out of hand. Now, seeing as how it damaged the community each time they said that, and then it wasn't delivered, do you really think a company is going to do that yet again? And now also keep in mind, it's under new management. The big boss of, I think it was Mark Gerhard, he is no longer with Jagex, and he was the last one that was actually has given a statement about it. This time, you actually, if you scroll down to the bottom of it, you see the mods that are actually taking part in this. And Pips, I believe, is actually the new leader. I think he's the one that replaced Gerhard. So, well, Mod MG, as they used to call him. So he's a bit, he's different. He's a really good guy. But then you also look at the other ones that are tied with it. You got Mac, Connor, Osborne. Okay, Osborne, I know a lot of people know who, well, if you don't know who he is, he's like one of the big faces of Jagex, the big spokesman. He was in pretty much all the Manithral videos. He used to do a lot of behind the scene videos. It was usually either him or Mod Mark. So usually you had those two, and they're usually the ones that give them RuneScape reveals videos during RuneFest. So you got, and Mod MIC, and also they have tied in there with the RuneScape team. But now, so you gotta look at the names that are being thrown out there with it that are the key names. So these are the key names that you gotta be thinking about that are actually tying themselves to this and committing to this. They generally do deliver. And if you look at some of the content that they went over and they've not only delivered, but they reviewed, for instance, the bank bidders. It was going to be a thing. They really thought the community would love it. It is either still on the back burner or they completely scrapped it. I'm not sure which. But it was a Mod Osborne project. And since then, it seems like it has been scraped because he's seen the community's, reaction to it, and the reaction wasn't what they expected, and I'm pretty sure he pulled out of that project, and that project is not going to be happening now. So, and Jagex has been, over the past few years, been getting better and better and better. Ever since, I gotta say this, ever since Mod Pips has taken over Mod MG. So things have been getting a lot more, between the players and them. They've been talking more, they've been communicating more, they've been on social media, which is fantastic, because social media, the reason why, the one thing that is struggling with the RuneScape's forums is the fact of being the usability of it, compared to stuff like Twitter and Facebook, Reddit, and stuff like that. I mean, you can get that kind of stuff. You can get it on your phone very easily. It's a lot easier to be in communication with people. Whereas their forums, it's there, but it's not as easy to keep in touch and keep in contact with somebody. And I think that's a big reason why, there's, don't get me wrong, there's still mods that do go over the forums, but the social media is also another way for them to keep in touch, and it's a very helpful tool where people can actually get in touch easier, if you ask me personally. So they've been getting more and more communication out there, and they admit they've been making mistakes. They've been making too much pressure with the promotions and what the promotions are and how heavy-handed they are. And one of the reasons why I want to also say that I believe that this is going to be coming to a thing also, because the reason why you should trust them about this is because when you look at what they've been doing over the past few months now, well, not even just the past few months, but even the past year, little by little, a lot of these items that were purely treasure hunter have been getting leaked into the game in different fashions, whether it's mini games, expired distractions and diversions like the Gnome Cuisine. The Gnome Cuisine recently got the Soy Chef outfit. So, I mean, there's different things that are being released into the game. The Thaler, you can get their, I believe, the Silverhawk boots and Silverhawk feathers from that. So that's another reason. You know, a lot of these things that were exclusive to just Treasure Hunter can now be found in the game pretty easily. So, they are making big strides when you really want to break it down. Now, see, what they also mentioned in this is they're going to try to get away from making it so damaging to the game's economy. Because, I mean, let's face it, if you're a higher level, you can get 28 magic logs pretty quickly, you know, just from one run of the mill. And now, if let's say you don't fletch very often, or you don't do fire making very often, well, by the time you get into that skill rotation, you know, you just wait until you have a good amount built up and then you use it. And so that's one thing they're going to have to be rebalancing it. They also did mention that they're going to be doing a rework of the microtransaction system with at least Treasure Hunter. Now, Solomon General Store is actually pretty sound. It's mostly all cosmetic. There is a few things that are a quality of life, but even those, they have been kind of, you know, going like that with making it pretty much just cosmetics. So they've been trying to, you know, push away that way, you know, making it, you know, more and more fair. But they can't really get rid of certain things in there. Because you can't really go and say, okay, well, legendary pets, they provide too much of a benefit to people who can't, let's say, get the rune coins by either earning them through like watching videos and stuff like that, or whatever. So, you know, these people, they don't really have as much access to it. It's not really fair to them. But they could say, you know, it's not fair to them, and I agree, it's not entirely fair to them. But at the same time, the people that already have it, it's like, well, can you really yank something away from somebody that they actually put money into to get these things? And that's where a lot of the Treasure Hunter and Solomon General Store is actually getting itself in trouble with. People are intentionally putting money into it to get certain items that can actually have an in-game benefit. That's the problem. So if they would release let's say boss pets, that would be a perfect one. The boss pets and the skilling pets. Let's say they would have them as an equivalent to the legendary pets. That would be perfect. Because then people who have bossed, their boss pets now actually serve as a function other than, you know, maybe a cosmetic override. And the skill pets, the same thing, as well as the combat pets that are coming soon. So if they were to do that, it would make it an even ground. And yeah, people who, you know, have earned those pets, you know, they might find it a little discouraging that somebody else had just went out and bought it. But they can take solace in the fact that they have a more unique pet than that other person does. Because anybody, well, not anybody, but most people, you know, you can go out, you can buy that pet, you can save up your gold, you can get that pet, no problem. A boss pet, that is pure RNG. So to give them an effect like that, that'd be pretty freaking sweet. So that's my opinion on that. But to top all this off, they are going to have a have your say type thing going on. And what that means is, whenever there's content that comes out, you're going to be able to rate it. You're going to be able to rate it. You're going to be able to give your feedback. You can even give comments. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do that, if they're going to be doing it every week for every bit of content, or every week month. I really actually hope they do it every week, because it does say, you know, latest update. So that to me says every single week, every single update, they're going to be doing that. Which is very good for them and very good for us. So this also goes to show us what microtransactions are going to they're going to be rated to. And yes, I know some people are really against the microtransactions, but if it goes to purely just maybe like this is quality of convenience types items and convenience and cosmetics. Yeah, that's what they're going for here. So that's what these are going to be turned into. So in terms of cosmetics, as long as they keep in mind stuff like, okay, the leprechaun's hat, it's considered to be a cosmetic, but it has a luck value on it. It's equivalent to a tier 2 luck item. I believe tier 2. So that's not really just cosmetic anymore. That's actually an in-game use. And I'll admit, when I'm doing God of War Dungeon 1, I use it. Reason being is because not only do I have Luck of the Dwarves, I also have the Leprechaun hat. So it's just like, why not use both? Because maybe the Luck of the Dwarves will trigger and the Leprechaun hat won't. The Leprechaun will trigger, the Luck of the Dwarves won't. Because they don't stack, but they both have their own luck value. That's how I do it. And it's actually paying off because I usually get at least one drop per trip. One unique drop that is sellable per trip. I also get like the War Priest stuff too, so meh. I'm not really too into that. But as a first part of this too, they do say that the prize pool promo will never be seen again. And they are not going to be they're not going to revisit similar mechanics anytime soon. They will not be running a Second Chance Tuesday at least for the rest of the year to see how people react to that. And they're going to just try to make it so a treasure hunter does not have as such of a huge impact. I agree with this 100%. Because if they keep it with just purely cosmetics, it's going to be good. Because as long as they try to start shying away from gear too. If they start shying away from gear, that's going to make it even better yet. And by gear, I mean no more Barrows armor, no more level 70 armor from God of War's dungeon. That needs to be gone. Now, the people who already have it, I don't think it should be taken from them. Because you know what? They got it. It should be theirs to use. Maybe Jacket's messed up. And maybe these people can exchange it for the equal value of what it currently is in the Treasure Hunter value log. So then these people can actually trade it all for the gold. But I don't think it should be forced that they have to do that. Reason being is because it's not their fault that Jackets did it the way they did it. And these people, whether they got lucky or they bought the keys, I think that's how it should be. But this whole thing is just basically them saying, be rest assured, things are changing, they understand this, they made mistakes. And personally, like I said, I believe them wholeheartedly about it. Not just because of the names that are tied on it, but you also got to figure this. They've made this mistake a couple times. They don't want to keep making this mistake, because the more they make this mistake, the more people they're going to lose, the more backlash is going to happen from the community, the more and more danger it is for this game to actually start suffering major consequences. They don't want to do that. So, microtransactions will be here to stay. But it's going to be more events, I think, like that have been happening, like the Birth by Fire, the zombie pirate thing. I forget what it was called. The Ghost Weave. The Ghost Weave is actually a good one. Would be nice if it was made a little bit more user friendly. Where you could actually earn this stuff as you play, because not everybody wants to feel like they have to strain to get it. What it should be is that the average player, not the hardcore player, not the casual player, but the average player should be able to obtain and make at least one of those outfits by just playing the game within the course, that corresponding time frame. So if they do that, the average player can make one outfit. That's actually not that bad. But if you want to get all the outfits, you have all the perks to it, which perks is just all the outfits. That way, they can still have that drive to buy keys if they so as desire. But like I said, this time I really have a good feeling about this. I've had good feelings about their kind of promises like this before, but something in the previous events, it's like, well, it sounds really good, but there's always that underlining feeling of like something doesn't quite line up properly. But this time, I think it's going to be different. I think they're going to pull through quite well. And like I said before too, they've already been actually starting it from a little while ago, because the elite skilling outfits are in game. The skilling outfits are in game. Magic note papers in game. Through a couple ways, actually. There's a few things that are things are just constantly leaking from Treasure Hunter into the game. So that, if you think about it, that is a sure sign they had intended this practice, that they were going to rework the system for Treasure Hunter. But first things first was to get rid of those get those prizes out into the main game, and then they can go and start pulling back and bring Treasure Hunter down more. Which, if they do that, that would be great. Might have a lot of people return, might not. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to stay skeptical for quite a while. And if you're skeptical, if you don't agree with me, I do understand that. I understand I'm not trying to put down anybody. I'm not trying to, be a defender for Jagex. I'm just trying to look at it from a not only business point of view, because it is good for their company, it does get them extra revenue, does help them pay for more employees who can do these things, make more content. It does help them, but at the same time, I can also look at it from the player's point of view about how it's not exactly good for the game economy, and it can be potentially very irritating for the player. So hopefully they do stay true to it. I believe they will. But because, they've already been making great strides. But that'll actually do it for this video, so thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, later guys.